because all the jobs have been, we don't really know what happened to the jobs, right? But they are completely non existent. I want to talk about a few things that I have learned since moving abroad, okay? And the first thing is, it's something that we know already, but I do have to reiterate. When you are moving abroad, definitely get a language coach, okay? Get someone on pre-apply that can really help you know, this is not sponsored, but you want to practice with someone all the time, a few times a week, even if you can, in order to learn the language, because you don't want to get there and feel overwhelmed by the culture shock, by the change of everything. The last thing you want to have to worry about is how to say, "Where is the bathroom?" This is something I experienced. Was it the worst thing ever? No, but I do wish on month 2 and 3 I put a lot more effort into learning Portuguese, because now that I am back in Salvador, I am meeting a lot of people and they are really kind and nice. They have been kind of teaching me along the way Portuguese phrases and things like that. But I do wish that I had practiced a lot more so that way I can be a lot more impressive. Like, okay, this American really knows Portuguese, but it's been great still. Another thing that I have learned is that I can do hard things as a single parent. Moving abroad solo, um, as a solo adult with a child, was something that was important to me. However, I did have to overcome a lot of limiting beliefs. I had to dissolve a lot of limiting beliefs. This sort of thing took months, right? It took a lot of research. I feel as though when I was researching certain things, certain topics, certain questions, certain concerns, I was able to transmute that energy into a feeling of resolve, into a feeling of knowing, into a feeling of safety. If you are a person that wants to move abroad but hasn't figured out anything about it yet, I highly recommend getting the Moving Abroad Toolkit. It is a app that I designed that help you answer the two most important questions when moving abroad, which is, how soon can I go and how much will it cost me, with my family or solo? These are the two most important things, and this is going to usher you into planning your move abroad. There's nothing more exciting than that. Right now, you can get the free workbook. This is a self paced guide workbook that helps you answer all the questions, okay? And with the toolkit, you get the guide and you get the mindset shift, which specifically identifies limiting beliefs so you can resolve them in order to move abroad. You're welcome. I do have to say that the Moving Abroad Toolkit is something that I worked on for quite some. It is the combined knowledge of the last 12 months for me when planning a move abroad, and it is my most exciting work, even after being a published writer, a grant writer, etc. So, another thing I have learned is that you need people to survive, period, point blank. A lot of my move abroad was stimulated from burnout of being a business owner, multiple business owner, okay? Just the grind that I've experienced the last 10 years, it stemmed from that. And the grind, and also feeling like I wasn't doing enough still, somehow. After getting everything I wanted, something was still missing, okay? And now I have finally found out what that was. I knew I didn't have balance then, but now more than ever, I see the value in living a fulfilling and balanced life in particular. But I wanted to escape to get solitude, to be in isolation, so that way I could position myself for better things to come. Now that I'm there, I miss people that I can talk to and connect with. When you move abroad, you're going to miss the past, right? Everybody has a time period where they have to release the past. Don't allow this to make you revert backward. You have to take the knowledge that you learned in the past and bring it forward so that way you can continue to move forward in a way that better suits you. Another thing that I have learned since moving abroad is that things do not change back home. They don't. People are still going to be doing the same things. If anything, things decline. And we know that, and it's not to speak ill about people, places, or and things, but it's the truth. The people there are going to be doing the same things, making lateral movements. I want to quantum leap, which is why I decided to change my scenery. Does this mean I'll never go back home? No, it doesn't mean that. And I love home. But right now, I am refining my skills. I'm refining the things that I know. So that way, when and if I ever do return, I'll be able to bring forth more value from a totally different standpoint. Now that I have been abroad for 4 months, which is almost half a year soon, the time has really flown by, just relaxing, just vibing, just chilling, just starting a new business and pivoting an old business. I did not just throw away all my business skills, all my networking, all my relationships when moving abroad. I actually was able to transfer my skills into another way to make money, which is very exciting. And I hadn't imagined that once I moved abroad, I would start teaching DJ classes. I had no idea that's something that I would do. But when you take leaps of faith, you end up getting more answers. You end up finding more information along the way. So, all of this to say, if you are a person that wants to move abroad, or perhaps you just want a change of scenery, you just want to get away from the norm, get away from mediocrity, get away from negative habits, I do suggest moving abroad, even if it's for a short amount of time. Perhaps you don't want to leave forever, but I know for me, one reason for moving was because of the political climate, was because of the economic standing. These things are very real. And the last thing you want to do is to be a person that's of middle class or perhaps, a little bit above that and get priced out of your market because of inflation, because you can no longer sustain your business, because you can no longer sustain a job because all the jobs have been, we don't really know what happened to the jobs, right? But they are completely non existent. You don't want to gamble away or use your entire savings fund surviving when you can just use geo arbitrage in another country until your country goes back to normal. Um, if that ever happens. But you do want to start to consider these things. So if you haven't already, download the free workbook, like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more information and also motivation about how to change your life and build legacy. See you on the other side.